To be honest, I'm really surprised I didn't make a video about this already, but almost 2 years later and here we are. Before I get started, sorry about not making a video last week. That's the first time in actually months that I hadn't done one. Anyway, I'm sorry about that, but I'm back. So in today's video, I'm going to go through 10 of what I personally believe to be the most nostalgic areas in all of RuneScape. Along with that, I'll talk about a few memories that I and other community members have of each area. With all that being said, I'll quit rambling and start the video. Number 10, the Taverly Gate. This one is probably the smallest area on this list as it takes up literally 2 tiles of space. Regardless, it had a major impact on a lot of us. I remember as a kid spending so much time here trying to get past it. I would spend hours looking for a way around, even going as far as running deep into the wilderness and of course dying a few times. Eventually, I gave up and used the world map to try and figure out what I was missing out on. What I think most of us realized is Taverly isn't really that exciting of a city, but what led beyond it would keep us playing for years. In RS3, Taverly is now available to free-to-play users, so it's sadly not nearly as meaningful to most new players. Either way, we'll still always have our memories of it. Number 9, Al-Kharid. Once again, another area blocked off by a gate. Although this time there was a way to get through it. Myself and many others probably spent a lot of time killing the nearby goblins to get enough coins to get through. That or take the massive journey all the way around it. Once we were inside, it introduced us to a whole new side of RuneScape, the duel arena. If you weren't into that though, there was still plenty to do. Examples of this being questing, or trying to mine up in the northern part of the desert while also avoiding the scorpions. Number 8, random event areas. Although they were originally introduced as things to keep players from breaking the rules, they became sort of the most memorable yet hated content in the game. It was a sad day, but also kind of a good one when Jagex made the decision to finally remove them. They were a funny and unique little part of RuneScape, but could get pretty annoying at times. There was nothing worse than leaving your computer for 5 minutes, only to come back to your player standing in Lumbridge with none of its items. When old school RuneScape got launched, random events made their return. The nostalgia of seeing Evil Bob, the Frogs, the Drill Sergeant Demon, and others were amazing. Well, until, like I said, she went AFK. So to be honest, these events don't really bring back the best memories, but still cause a pretty big nostalgia burst whenever I see them. Number 7, Draynor Village. This one brings back a lot of memories for quite a few reasons. It's probably the second creepiest area that free-to-play users have access to. As a result, I was always scared to try and visit it as a new player. Not to mention I nearly had a panic attack when the jail guards to the east of the village started attacking me out of nowhere. That's not the only thing you have to worry about either. As a low-level player, I was constantly being attacked by the wizards near the willow trees. Other than that, I remember spending a lot of time trying to get the blue party hat from the bank cutscene. I probably spent hours just researching for a glitch. Looking back, I wasn't the smartest kid when it came to RuneScape. I'm really surprised I didn't get scammed more than I already did. Number 6, the Wizard's Tower. This one brings back a lot of nostalgia for me for multiple reasons. First off is obviously the Rune Mysteries quest. This was one of the first quests I ever completed and was one of my favorites as a kid. After that though is the Lesser Demon upstairs. It seems like no matter the time, day, or world, you could go upstairs and see someone trying to fight it. Other than that, I remember a couple Christmas events took place here and they were always so much fun. But all of that isn't what brings back the most memories. Chances are a lot of you have seen this video by Tanoob Show called I Am Better Than You. The video has managed to rack up 1.7 million views, which is insane for a RuneScape video, even back in the day. Number 5, Varrock. If you ask anyone who's ever played RuneScape, it's almost a guarantee that they'll have fond memories of Varrock. This was the first big city we ever saw as players, and it was pretty mind-blowing. Regardless of what era of RuneScape you've played, Varrock has always been a social city filled with players. Before the Grand Exchange existed, it was filled with thousands upon thousands of players spamming messages, hoping that somebody would buy what they were selling. If you weren't here to buy or sell something, or to just hang out, chances are you were there for one of 2 other things: to skill or to quest. Bank standing and cutting the yew trees behind Varrock Castle were definitely my favorite things to do. Other than that, like I mentioned previously, there were a lot of quests based in Varrock as well. Chances are you remember running through the sewers below the city during the Demon Slayer quest. Lastly, there were also the Dark Wizards in front of the city's main gate. I'm sure you all have great memories of almost dying to them every time you pass by. Number 4, Barbarian Village. This one holds a lot of memories for me, and even just the music. I'll never forget this song, and every time I hear it, I think back to the hours and hours I spent here. I spent so much time trying to get my stats high enough to fight Gunthor the Brave. When I wasn't failing at fighting him, chances are I was in the Stronghold of Security, located directly below the village. I remember trying to fight the things down there too, but having to take a break every couple minutes to grab the meat that spawns inside the long haul. Other than that, I would spend time grabbing the fish that people drop just outside the village and selling that on the Grand Exchange. I used to think I was so smart, even though I was earning next to nothing from it. Number 3, Draynor Manor. This was the scariest place for pretty much every free-to-play user. This place almost made me quit the game entirely when I got stuck inside for a few hours. I never even thought once to Google how to get out. I had to ask a friend at school, and if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be too surprised if I had ended up quitting. While I was stuck inside, I pretty much explored all that I could, scared that I would lose my account forever. Like I said in the last video, this place was creepy for a number of reasons, such as the weird chairs that follow you around everywhere on the ground floor. A few weeks after getting stuck inside, I remember coming back to fight Count Draynor, which at the time was a huge accomplishment for me. Not long after that, I even tried to show a few friends how to fight him. They ended up quitting not too long after they failed the fight a couple times. Number 2, Lumbridge. Lumbridge is the first place we ever visit after learning the basics of the game. We're just hurled into this massive world in a small little riverside town. Lumbridge is the first place we get lost in, the first place we interact with another player, and the first place we go back to whenever we die. This is just really the area where we were let loose and told to explore. Some of us started with fighting the nearby goblins, while others thought chopping down the dozens of trees nearby would be fun. Regardless of what type of player you are, this is where we all truly learned what RuneScape is. Although, once you learn enough about RuneScape and get your levels high enough, Lumbridge becomes just another town you pass through. Even so, I'll never forget how amazing it was when I first started playing. Number 1, Tutorial Island. It's pretty obvious why this one is at the number 1 spot. Up until a few years ago, this was the first area almost every single RuneScape player visited, and still is for old school. This is where we learned the basics of the game and some of its weird mechanics. Even though we spent maybe a half hour to an hour of our time here, most of us could retell the entire experience start to finish with no problems. This area absolutely defines nostalgia for most players, yet it's the one place we can never go back to without starting a new account. It's kind of funny, to be honest, that some of our fondest memories of RuneScape stem from a time when we knew nothing about it. So many of us wish we could go back to a time before we knew everything about the game, a time before we knew the world map better than our own city's map. Although we'll never be able to do that, we'll always have the memories. So that's all for this video. Sorry if an area you liked it didn't make it on the list, because it's kind of all personal opinion, to be honest. Anyway, I'm considering creating a Teespring campaign and releasing a shirt or two for you fans to wear. If that sounds good to you, feel free to toss some ideas down in the comments on what the design should be. I don't really know if I'm going to do this yet, but if you all seem to like the idea, then I'll definitely try and get at least one shirt out. Other than that, drop a like on the video, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And lastly, I'll see you next time.